Well, if you think getting referrals for clients is a good thing, you are in the right place. Today, we are going to be breaking down what it means to build a true referral network. We're going to talk about what a referral actually is. We're going to talk about, is it even worth paying a fee to get a referral, how to build those relationships and maintain them, and how to avoid pitfalls. We have with us Karlyn Eacrett. I think I pronounced that wrong. I just asked you how to pronounce your name. How do I say your name so I get it right?
Karlyn Eacrett.
Karlyn Eacrett.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I met Karlyn actually through Real Estate Hacks, probably one of the largest real estate groups in North America, let alone Canada. It's ran by a couple killers, and she was one that I always watched navigate that group, build really cool relationships. She sent us a gift as well. She's in our referral network database. So this podcast is me giving you access to people in my network. My name is Justin Konikow, own Prime Real Estate Brokerage and Prime Media Productions with my amazing, intelligent wife. And we are just literally people connectors. And I think you've done such a great job in developing relationships and being somebody that attracts a lot of business, kind of like we were talking about before, instead of going out and door knocking. So why don't you give us a little bit of your backstory? Who are you? How did you fall into the real estate business? And how did referrals become something that you built as a tranche of your business?
I mean, it all happened really organically, actually. But how I got into real estate in the beginning, I was a server working at Earl's. I was pregnant with my first baby. I realized that, working those late nights at the bar was not going to be something that I could continue to do or that was sustainable. So at that time, I was still pregnant. My husband and I were talking about, what path I might take. Do I stay with the company in a different role? That sort of thing. And I did for a bit work within the company on the HR kind of side of things, the back office side of things. But anyway, we had many discussions and real estate came up as an option. And, this is 7 years ago now. And I'm like, yeah, let's try it. Right. I got to do something other than this. I'm pregnant. I've got all the time in the world to look at the content and to complete everything. So I did that. And then, I got right into it. I think probably my first sort of real look at referral business was through Real Estate Hacks. Initially I knew nobody. I was brand new to the business. There was people that were already well established ahead of me in the group, people that knew each other for years. And so when I came into the group initially just as a member, I started to sort of watch what was happening there and watch kind of looking at the people who were referred more than others. And I just sort of took an inventory of that and tried to understand what they were doing more than everybody else in the group. So that's sort of how it got started. For me, I am big into agent to agent referrals. So if anybody doesn't know what that means, that is when an agent that doesn't trade in your area has a client that lives in your area. And that client needs help. So I would take their client, help them, and pay them a fee, which is typically 25% referral fee. That does vary for me, though. It's mostly just the 25. But I just really started to look at it as a pillar of my business, and I started to treat it as such. So what I mean by that is, and you'll often see, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, you'll see in these groups, people will complain sometimes when a name is mentioned over and over, and they'll say things like, oh, it's a popularity contest, or whatever it is that they say. And it is a popularity contest in many regards, and it should be looked at like that. And what I mean by that is, if I am looking to give my referral out, my client who likes and trusts me, I want to give that person, that client, to somebody that I know, like, and trust. So how do you establish? I started to think about, how do I establish that know, like, trust through the confines of either the group or building relationships with other agents, through bringing value to the agent community, and trying to position myself as an authority on certain topics. So that could be through, Zoom meetings. I've done a couple presentations, or even just if I found something really cool that makes our life easier, I want to share it with everybody. So I think coming from a place of value when it comes to agent referrals is critical. That's going to show that you're professional, you're collaborative, You're giving them something without asking for anything in return. The other thing there has just been fostering relationships with other agents, and that I do that through, like, hey, do you want to go grab a drink? Do you want to grab lunch next week? Hey, how's it going? Oh, you've had a bad week? Why don't we go grab lunch? We'll talk about it. Or, sometimes it's just sharing a meme or a text, or, oh, I have this deal and it's blowing up. Like, it's stuff like that. And that all is very natural because I enjoy that, and I enjoy the people that are within my network. I love talking to them. I love hanging out with them. So it's really not work. I think I've found a place where it technically is like lead generation, but it is so simple and authentic to me versus, say, a door knock or a cold call. I also find the really great thing about agent to agent referrals and building those relationships is because we're dealing with people, with the other agent whose client know, likes, and trusts them, they're now referring to you who they know, like, and trust. You're getting a much higher quality of client, and you're getting the type of client that you actually want, right? Versus, a Facebook lead campaign.
Yeah, we all know those too. And I love how you're framing this conversation, because in our industry, like, I came from hospitality as well. I love hearing your backstory. I know how Earls actually operates. I know how systemized they are. And for you to work in HR is quite an accomplishment. But really, in the real estate business, people come in and they get overwhelmed. They're like, I got to be a TikToker, and I got to go on LinkedIn. I got to do Facebook leads. I got to do advertising. I do print mailers. I got to do referrals. And it's like, oh my gosh, you found one simple thing that you enjoy doing, and you realize that it's something that you have to put effort to. I also think it's super interesting how you deconstructed it. You didn't get scared about other people's success. Instead, you celebrated it, and you're like, what are they doing that I'm not doing that could put me in that position? And the last thing is, I see this on every Facebook group. There's so many people that they come in and they just want to, it's like walking into a cafeteria in high school and just yelling at the crowd, right? Like, everybody's having their discussions and you walk in, you're like, I'm Justin, look at my awesome listing video. They're all going to look at you like you're crazy, versus your approach where it sounds like you just become part of the different tables. You sit down, maybe have a bite to eat with this person, go meet that person. You actively learn. Now, the question I have for you, did you like do that methodically? Like, did you have it time blocked in your calendar that you wanted to touch the groups once a day? Or like, what was the system that you used to be consistent with this?
No, I didn't. This was just all sort of happening in my mind. And I thought, I do need to spend time here and doing this, but I don't do it that way because of the way my brain works. Then it would feel like work. And so I just make a conscious effort to spend a little bit of time in some capacity, whether that's like a text, a phone call, whether that's, sharing something in real estate hacks, whether that's setting up a mastermind group. Like, I enjoy that stuff so much that I don't even have to block it. Like, there's some nights at 1 a.m. and I'm like writing down ideas, or I'm thinking about things I can share with other agents, or, I'm always kind of like, the wheels are sort of always turning. And it's so great that I found it. Like, I'm so grateful, because door knocking, cold calling was not my vibe, and it pained me to do it. And I had all these people being like, well, you have to do it. And, you don't, you really, really don't. And, just to come back to as well to, I know you had mentioned, like, is it worth paying a fee? That obviously is a bit of, I don't want to call it a downside, because I'm happy to pay the fee. But obviously, if you had cold business, you wouldn't be paying that fee. But to me, it's easy, it's natural. I've got a really great group of network of agents, and that know, like, and trust me, and their clients know, like, and trust me. And I love doing business that way, and it makes it feel a lot less lonely, because you're constantly communicating with agents about deals or what's happening with their client, or, okay, we got an accepted offer today. How things looking on your end? So it feels like more collaborative, which is definitely where I thrive. Being all alone on my lonely is not, it's not my favorite thing. So that kind of gives me a dose of that collaboration while we're still getting deals done and we're still working together. And I love it.
Isn't this a funny business? Like how often when you're writing down ideas and you're mind sharing with other agents, you're talking about a referral, maybe you touch base with that person, you end up talking about like, well, what's working for you right now? Like what are buyers thinking in your market? How are you dealing with sellers? Are a price reduction even going to make a difference right now when nobody's even showing properties? Like that piece of it is probably what you enjoy, right? And it's super interesting to hear you break it down because I align with you in a lot of ways. There's a guy actually here watching right now, Kendrick Richardson. What up, Kendrick? Nice to see you. I met him on Clubhouse, 2 years ago when the pandemic was happening and Clubhouse was kind of popping off. He has since become like a really, really good friend. We've collaborated on all kinds of different things. And it's been amazing to watch his career grow. And, having somebody that I can trust in Chicago, I've started putting forth to my community, like, you need an agent anywhere on the planet, call me. Like the one thing I didn't even realize I had was I'm a people connector. I just happen to know everybody. And I think that that's so powerful as an agent to realize that that's actually a piece of your core business as well, that you're managing these relationships. But let me know your thoughts on this, because I'm very big on, if somebody calls me from Chicago and I didn't know Kendrick, when I do my research and find an agent, like I spend time on it, because I've seen in our industry, one thing I hate is somebody gets a referral, they just call their logo or their office location in that city and they call the broker and they get some random person who could be a rookie that's never done a deal in their life. Like, how do you vet referrals and the people that you're actually handing your clients to?
To be quite honest, at this point in my career, it's very rare that I have to do that because I've got established such a solid network. But in the beginning, I would just, first things first, Google, like I want to see what they've got going on. I want to see what they're doing. I want to see what they're like. Are they active online? Do they have any listings? I like to always read reviews, like Google reviews. I think that's a good place to start.
Do you check out their Instagram page?
Oh yeah, everything.
Yeah, for sure.
I just become like a detective. And then I want to have a phone call conversation with them, because the big thing for me too is, even though I might have one specific referral partner in one area, they might not necessarily be the best fit for this specific lead or this specific client. So I want to have a phone conversation with them and say, like, hey, my clients are Jim and Sue, and this is the situation. Do you think that that's something you can handle? I want to get a bit more information. To me, it doesn't really matter how much they sell. I just want to make sure that they are trustworthy and that I can count on them to get the deal done, and that my clients are going to be happy in the end. The last thing, and we've all had it happen, where the client calls and they're like, oh, the referral person you sent us never answers the phone, or they blew us off, or they're making us feel like our price range is too low and we're not a priority. And it's like, I don't want any of that, of course, because the referral, I mean, that's a direct reflection of yourself or the other agent. And so for me, with an incoming referral, I understand how important it is for me to do my job to the fullest and to make sure that everybody's happy, because I'm like, okay, now this agent has placed their trust in me. So I need to make sure that everything goes as planned. I do also have kind of a back end system with referrals so that everybody's up to date. I'll just ask right at the beginning to the agent, like, do you want a step by step? Do you want to know everything that's going on? Do you want to just know when something, big happens, or do you want it all? And they let me know, and I'll just follow up with them as they want. And I think that that's important too, because I've found in the past when I've given referrals out, I do want to be updated. I don't want to be chasing you and being like, hey, did the Smiths buy a home? Were you able to find them something? And they're like, oh, I haven't talked to them in 2 months. And it's like, well, I expect if I give you this, that you're going to run it, you're going to get it done. And if there was a problem, you'd let me know so that we can get things back on track. So I think communication is really key, and letting them know that you are working on it, things are moving ahead. And it just makes you feel good to be like, okay, so that situation's good. They let me know everything's good, offers accepted. So that definitely is a big piece as well, is just communicating through the process. Some agents are like, I don't care, just send me the, you don't have to keep me updated. Just send me the referral.
Yeah.
um,
And I think that comes down to how people conduct themselves in a reflection of their business, right? Like no qualms to people that run their business differently than we do. I just know that you're very human centric, right? Like, and the reason that you're on this podcast again is because I watch how you treat other people. And to me, that's a very big sign of how you conduct yourself in your business. I think it's pretty cool how you can flow and say, hey, I don't necessarily have it time block. It's not work for me. It's something I enjoy doing. But then on the other side, you're like, well, I do have a system for how I track it, because to me, that's quality control. And I think that's pretty cool. Did you always have that, or did you have to implement it kind of over time as that side of your business grew?
As that side of my business grew, I did implement that system. And I just wanted it to be the type of situation where when you send me a referral, you know exactly what's happening at all times. You know, you're getting, I always get the referral documents signed right away. Like that's the first thing I do, because I know a lot of agents would maybe not pay it or would be worried that they're not going to get paid it. So I like to just do it right at the front end, and then get it done. Everybody has it. And it's like, okay, everybody can breathe. So that's part of the system, is getting that done. And then just the communication and the follow-up. But yeah, I did find as I was getting more referrals, it was like, okay, now I need a system. And then a system as well, like when we close, what gift is that agent getting, or what communication is she getting from me? So that's all kind of been itemized, and it makes things run a lot smoother, and it gives people, just like the client face, I look at it just as a client facing situation, where it's like you want each client to have the same experience with you and the same process, and then they know what to expect.
Makes it easier for you too, because then you're not stressing out about like, where is everything? Like you probably have checklists that you're like, oh, I did that or I didn't do that, because you're a human being, right? And as you have business coming and going, you need systems to allow you to have the freedom to be the best version of yourself. We're definitely going to get to the gift giving portion of it. I thought that was super cool. Before we do that though, when you're looking at referral partners and developing relationships, or even when you get chosen as the referral partner, what are the core values or things about that person that you think makes them get chosen over somebody else?
Generally speaking, or
generally speaking, like you line up 5 people, is it communication? Is it the way that they present themselves online? Like, what do you think are some key things people can look at on themselves to put themselves ahead of that pack?
I think providing value. So again, like even if this is client facing or community facing versus agent facing, you want to always be providing value, right? So you're giving, and you're not looking like, you're not going out there and saying like, hey, I'm doing this seller seminar. Now here's a bunch of like listing agreements, and let me know if you have any referrals. It's not like
doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that. It's kind of cheesy. So I think just coming from a place of value does a few things. It makes people feel like you are a bit of an authority on whatever topic that you're on. So they're like, oh, okay, she knows what she's talking about in this. It also helps people get to know you in a way. I know it's online, but it helps people get to know you. They see you, they hear you talking. It's all about building that know, like, trust. And it's even like not necessarily so stiff. Like oftentimes it's just like a silly comment, or somebody posts something and then you make a joke about it. Like it's like we're all in the same business, we all deal with the same problems, and sometimes you just have to laugh about it or make a joke about it. And I think in doing that, it shows who I am, and it helps people gain trust. They know what to expect from me. And they feel like they know me, and they do, in seeing all of those interactions. I feel like they get a good taste of who I am. And I find that also helps me attract agents that I relate to, that I really like, into my network. Like the people in my network, they're all such solid people, and they're all people that I would like love to spend time with at any time. They're funny, they're cool, they're real, they're authentic, they're genuine. They're all the things that I see in myself. And so I love that. Like they're my vibe.
And they probably inspire your business to a certain degree too. Like you see stuff that they're doing and you're like, I want to do that. And then when they see stuff you're doing, they're like, well, I want to do that. Like this conversation is making me think about it. Like we have a really good, solid referral network, but I'm thinking about the systemization of it. Like we have a deals tracking function so I can see where they're all at any point in time. But those checklist pieces, I think it's just a good thing for people to look at their own business and get inspiration from the people that are in their network as well.
Absolutely. And that happens a lot too, even in like the touch points, if I'm calling an agent who's doing something I want to do and I'm like, "Hey, how'd you do that?" And they're like, "Oh, I'd love to tell you."
Sure.
And it's great too because we're all in different markets. So there's no, I guess, like fear of sharing or fear of competition. So I find people are really open to sharing in that scenario as well. And that benefits, yeah, like you said, that benefits my business a lot too. It's not just about the referrals. It's like I've got all these great people that I could call at any time with any question, whatever it may be, that would help me. So it's great, and I would do
It,
the same for them.
And experience I've had is the people that are actually doing it are usually willing to share. The people that don't are usually not actually doing it. They're kind of putting forth this image that they're doing something, but they're hiding everything because they don't want to expose what their system actually looks like, because it'd be terrifying. I've always noticed too, the people that do share, they're not afraid that somebody else is going to go and do it, because we all know 99% of the world isn't going to do the work that it actually takes to implement it, right? And even if they do, by the time they figure it out, you're on to the next thing, which I think is super, super cool.
Mhm.
When you're paying a referral to another agent, we talked about it and touched on it a little bit, but what are some of the common issues that could pop up that could lead to a not so great interaction or not getting any more referrals? What do you think are the more common things that pop up with referrals?
In terms of, I mean, the worst thing, in my opinion, that could happen is you're introduced to the referral and the referral like just wants to go with somebody else. That's
Mhm.
happened. That's only happened to me once. Um, we were just not, it just wasn't a fit. Like I could see it, he could see it. It was very obvious. So I try not to beat myself up too much over that, but it's like
For
I,
sure.
I feel terrible because it's like I might have just lost the referral for the agent, So I do.
Do you call the agent and tell them though, so that you're like, hey, I met them, probably not a good fit. Give them a
Yeah.
heads up. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And I'll even say, like, based on the personality, so and so might be better matched to them. Like, I think maybe you should give them a call, and then the referral is not dead, right? You're still
Yeah.
going to get paid, but you need somebody with, more of XYZ personality because we just weren't, compatible, which is fine. I think that's probably my biggest fear. In terms of like actually paying out referrals, that's why I do everything at the front end, because
Yeah.
everybody knows. And it's good for the clients too, because it's like, I know every brokerage is different. Not everybody needs the clients to sign the referral form. My brokerage does require it. And I prefer that because I want
Sure.
everybody to know what's going on. So to front load it and be like, hey, Melissa just sent me your contact, you touch base, you get into that meeting and establish you're going to be working with them. And then I bring it up the referral form. Melissa was so kind and trustworthy to, you know, give me you guys to work with. And I'm really thankful to her for that. So for that reason, I'm going to pay her a referral fee. It's a standard
Sure.
fee. It's 25%. I'm just going to send that doc over. If you have any questions, let me know, but everything's laid out there. I've never had an issue with like payment or anything like that. And quite honestly, I mean, I've had other situations too where, like, I had one a couple of years ago, and referral agent calls me and he's like, I have these people in Brampton, which is not an area I normally work in. It's not too far, but I don't work in Brampton. And he's like, I have these clients in Brampton, they want to sell, but they're about to hire a discount brokerage.
Mhm.
And he's like, they will work with an agent, but only at 1%. So I'm like, I want to help them out. Right. And it would be a travesty to watch them go to a discount brokerage. I don't want that for them. Um, so I met with them, had the house staged, house was beautiful, like sold it in a day, over asking, everything was great. And the referring agent said to me, don't pay me a referral because I know you only took 1%.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, no, I'm still going to pay you the referral. Like that's not a question. So I
Yeah.
think just taking care of people and because it's it's 25%, but you're paying 25% for a nice, shiny, probably somebody that you want to work with because you know your referral partner, you know the type of people they attract, you know that you're probably getting like a really good, well qualified client. So it's like, I don't mind paying it, and I'm never going to nickel and dime. I'm happy to pay it. You know, I'm happy to.
Yeah, and that's a mentality thing. You can't teach that. It's funny that you brought that up. That was going to be my next topic. Because when agents look at referrals, sometimes they'll deprioritize leads based on I'm paying 25% of this or I'm paying 50% because it's a core team lead or whatever that looks like, not realizing every client they get, they're probably going to get great visibility in the public that they just did that deal with that person. They'll probably get referrals from that client to other friends and family that they have. Realistically, they could pick up 5 clients for every one referral that they get. And I look at it as a marketing fee. Love the fact that you said to the other agent, I'm still going to pay you your 25%. It's the cost of doing business. I think it speaks to your character, because I do find the second people start putting money in front of relationships, or they put the profits in front of the people, the relationships tend to degrade. And then it's, well, what do I have versus what do you have? And it doesn't track to really growing real relationships and seeing kind of when the chips are down, who those people are going to be. I love the fact that you've thought about this as a holistic approach. That's a core component of your business. I want to dig into the gift giving. You sent a customized candle to our office. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I gave you a shout out on our platforms because of that. Obviously, I've got you in our network and our referral database as well too. When did you start doing that? Was that something that you did out of the gate, or were you inspired by somebody else? How did that kind of evolve?
I started, so I think this is either my 3rd or my 4th year doing it. I don't know why. I just thought, it would be nice. And so in the first year I did, it was like I wish I had it. It's downstairs. It's like a photo frame. And it's like the definition of a realtor. And it says realtor, a badass miracle worker or something like that. And I just thought, it's inexpensive. It's cute. It's something that, an agent could put up in their office. So I sent those out and everybody really loved them. I still now, like if I'm on a Zoom call or a FaceTime with an agent, I can always see it in the back. They've got it hanging in their office. And then last year was the candles. This year I just sent everything out. So you should be getting something in the next couple of days.
You didn't have to send me anything. I still remember the
No,
last one. It's still on my
do.
page, so.
This is like my favorite part of the year because I get to I'm like, okay, it needs to be like a good, meaningful gift. It's got to be like either like funny or useful or whatever. So the gifts that I did this year, I'm really, really excited about. But I think it's just nice. It's, again, it's just like the client piece. If I want to stay top of mind, you have to, that's a touch point, and I love doing it. It's so much fun getting like the messages like, oh, I got your gift. It's so cool. And I love that part. Like I really do. And a lot of the agents are people that I've transacted with either this year or the year before. So again, it's like the cost of doing business, and it's fun. I like doing it.
Well, I think it's super smart. Again, it keeps you top of mind. It humanizes you. I was actually thinking about this before when you were talking. The AI art that everybody's doing right now, like that Lensa app thing. I shared a post and I actually put like 2 of the worst AI arts that ever popped up, kind of being self-deprecating about it because it humanizes you and like makes that person realize that, we're all human at the end of the day. And I love the gift giving aspect of it. I could see the look in your eyes and you're like, no, it's my favorite thing to do every year. If everybody can get fired up about their business like you are about that, I think it doesn't really feel like work, right? And then the business just comes.
Yeah, and that's the best part of all of it. It never feels like work. It is technically work. It is technically lead gen, but I'm not waking up and going like, oh, I haven't talked to so and so. I better message them. It's just like, who can I chat with? Like, oh, I see that whoever just had a baby, I should see how she's doing. And then we get into a conversation or it's just about the market, or sometimes it's personal stuff. Like I know everybody fairly well on a personal level.
Sure.
So it's just easy. At this point, I know them so well that it's like, I could probably ask or say whatever, like the doors there are completely open. So it's just so easy to do and enjoyable. Makes things feel less lonely, and and like you're connecting with people, even though we are all in business for ourselves.
Sure.
You're kind of sharing experiences. So yeah, it's definitely the favorite part of my business.
Well, the fraternity that this industry can have is one of the best I've ever seen. If you're watching this video and you're in another industry, you can still definitely build a great referral network. Just think about the people that are in and around your business that are working with the same types of clients that you are, but you have to activate it. You have to actually put in the work, which I think you've done to a very high degree. Another note, if you're watching this replay, feel free to jump in the comments and drop a question. I will connect you with her directly. If you're watching it live, I see a bunch of people here right now. Feel free to jump in as well. But I want to get you into the rapid fire round of questions. Are you good with that? And then I'll get you out of here.
Yep.
I just added one actually, because I think you'll have a great insight to share. So what's one piece of advice that you would give somebody that's starting out in their career today? Because it's not the easiest time.
Starting out in their career today, I would do everything. Everything. I would be looking for leases on Kijiji. That's a big one, honestly, because leases turn into buyers. I would be doing like the cold calling, the door knocking. I would just kind of be doing it all, open houses, and then find what is working for you. Like kind of test everything and find what works for you. Because what I found earlier in my career, somebody told me you got to do 2 open houses every weekend. And that's how you're going to build your database. And I did that for like almost 2 years. I did an open house every Saturday and every Sunday, and not one single person transacted with me.
Oh, wow.
And so
it is what it is, right? Like you have to go through that to really understand what brings you joy and where you're going to find your people.
Yeah. Like it was the same kind of thing. It's too cold for my personality. And I could never get past that like awkwardness of it. You know, it's like, I'm trying to like, it's such a hard sell. And I don't like the hard sell. I know, but then there's other agents who are like fantastic at it. Yeah. So I think trying a little bit of everything and determining what isn't working. In my case, I will let it go on for far too long. You know, if you're not getting results from that, if you've been doing open houses every single weekend for 6 months and nobody will call you back, move on. Like just move on to something else.
You're probably a lot faster at making those adjustments now than you were in the beginning, right?
I am now. Yeah. Because in my mind, I'm like, no, Karlyn, you have to.
Yeah.
This is the way people build businesses. But now things have changed so much that you don't have to. You can find something that you enjoy doing. You know, waking up every Saturday and Sunday morning, like, oh, I got to go sit at an open house. There's nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't for me and I wasn't getting any results. So I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I mean, look at the people who are like borderline economists now that are real estate agents, just disseminating the Bank of Canada announcements every time that they're looking at, you know, inflation data, and they're breaking it down. They love that. They're really good at it. You look at Sureski, you look at Daniel Falk, you look at a lot of those people. Daniel was on this podcast a couple weeks ago. Like they kind of found their thing, and all they got to do is wake up and create that content, and the business kind of just creates itself, right? So go find something that you love doing, but go taste everything. Just don't be shy to cut stuff out if it's not working. Yeah. What is the greatest lesson you've learned in this industry?
Greatest lesson I've learned is to not take things personally. I have a rule that when there is something upsetting, you know, if a deal falls apart, if I lose a client, if something upsetting happens, I give myself 5 minutes to be angry or sad or upset about it. And then I just like wipe it off the face of the planet. Because I think in the beginning with my personality type, I'm very like, I'm kind of sensitive and I want people to like me. And so, you know, getting like let go from a client or something not working out was really upsetting me, but it was draining me to the point where it was hurting getting the new business because I was spending too much time lamenting that thing that didn't work out. And you know, in fairness, this was early on in my career. So like a lot of the leads and a lot of people that I was getting were like not the best, you know, like they're wishy-washy and stuff. But I would beat myself up so much. So I just got to a point where I'm like, I need to let this go. I am going to hear so many no's. I am going to be, you know, there's going to be times when I'm not choosing like, and I need to just get over it. You know, of course I want to hear the feedback, you know, why it didn't work out and dig into that. But other than that, like my feelings aren't hurt. It's like, okay, I wasn't for you for whatever reason. It's unfortunate, but we're moving on. Or, the deal fell apart. That really sucks, but we're moving on. Like, we need to just continue, I think, to like always be moving on and always be, of course, deal with the problem in the moment. And then like, we're forgetting about it now.
Love that mindset. And yeah, it was normal. I went through the exact same thing as well too. And even to today, right? Things will pop up and it's like, it can be such a distraction, but is it a net positive or a negative to your business? And literally I was talking with one of the biggest agents in the States yesterday, and she was dealing with a similar situation with a client that like probably she worked on it for 8 years, advised them on all the upgrades for their house, did everything you could possibly imagine. She literally was going to list the place and then saw it listed with somebody else. That agent actually called her and was like, hey, can I use your photos? Because they were so great and our photos are terrible. And I said to her, she's like, maybe it was this or maybe it was this. I'm like, you're never going to know unless they tell you. Like, you drive yourself bananas thinking about it. Pray for them, pray for that they have success and whatever, and let it go. Because I think that is detrimental to a lot of people in this industry. Like or comment in this video if that's ever happened to you. If you're a real estate agent, I bet you that's going to be a yes. What are you learning right now? You probably have a good core base of what you have to do to be successful in this business, but there's got to be something you're learning that's new to you or that scares you. What would that thing be?
Right now, I feel like I need to work on kind of my back end and my systems. My CRM is a bit of a mess. But like in my personality, that's not where I thrive.
Sure.
Like, I don't enjoy that stuff. But it's something that I think need to work on and set aside some time. So I would say that. The other thing that I would like to sort of learn more about is not just Facebook ads, but like retargeting. And the other thing that I really want to dive into this coming year is farming, like geo farming. I am farming an area right now, but I feel like I could be doing a lot more. So I think what I would like to do is kind of get some ideas together and just start like trying some things, seeing, what works for me, what works for the business. So I would like to dig, I think, more into that, because I do really want to like niche down and be a primarily in my farm area.
I can align with that very, very closely. I said to my wife yesterday, I'm like, I don't want there to be a single sign in this area that isn't my sign, right? So I get that. The CRM thing I could actually help you with as well. So hit me next week. I'll give you some insights onto that side of things. The retargeting, I may save you a little bit of time. So Facebook's actually changing it. So previously I could have like a list of 100 people that clicked on 123 Main Street in this city and take that list and say, hey, I want to feed them another property that I have coming. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. As of 2023, my buddy Mike Sherrard put out a really good video on that. So just send me a message and I'll flip you that video so that you can watch it. It's not a bad thing. It's just the way you run your Facebook ads and brand awareness is going to be very, very different in the future. So
got it.
That's awesome. I like asking that question because sometimes it's just, I might have the answer. Somebody I know might have the answer. So I'll point you in Mike's direction. The most important question before I get you out of here, given you made time for my audience and everybody that learned so much from you today, how can we add value to you? You're standing at the top of one prime square, tallest building on the planet. You got a message or something you want to push to my people. Platform is yours.
That's a good question. I think, an Instagram follow maybe.
Okay, let's do that.
I hope that thank you so much for having me, by the way. And I really hope that somebody was able to take something from this. And I wanted to just say as well, like, if you had any other questions about, this agent to agent or like building a referral business that we didn't touch on, feel free to just send me a message. I'm always happy to chat. As you've heard, like I love to chat to other agents. So if there's anything that I didn't cover that you'd want to know, I'm totally an open book. Send me a message and we can have a conversation, have a call, whatever works for you.
Awesome. We'll drop your links in the chat. It will be in the replay as well. We'll make sure to go give her a follow and make that connection. Feel free to DM her as well. I think that I gained a lot of insight. It was very, very concise. Yeah, thank you so much. And I'll catch you out in Hacks and out in the wild, I'm sure.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
One more question.
Yes.
All my guests get a book from me. So I got a question for you. Have you read The Go Giver?
No.
Okay. So you literally did to that agent in terms of, you know, or when somebody brought you a referral and it wasn't right for you and you referred it to maybe your competition, that's a core concept of the Go Giver. So we're going to send you a copy of that book. Do you prefer audiobook or paperback?
I like paper.
Amazing. I love hearing that. So we'll get that over to you.
Amazing. That's so exciting. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a good day.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Okay.